Here we go again.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. No button didn't work. Hi, Dr. Tiff.
Hey, Jim.
How are you today?
Oh, I am so great on this day before Turkey Day for me.
Day before Turkey Day. We were just talking about that. And you bought a smoked turkey. I'm going to be smoking turkey tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I got a buddy of mine that does he owns a barbecue restaurant here, and so he gets the hookup to the like the big food, the like Shamrock, whatever the what restaurants buy from.
Okay.
And he hooked me up with some unnatural, like 6-pound turkey breasts. Each breast is 6 pounds.
Oh goodness.
These things are huge. Like yeah, it ain't
Like
natural.
what bird? What bird did that come off of?
Pumping iron. Birds on more steroids than Arnold Schwarzenegger. But you know what? It's gonna be a lot of meat. Happy Thanksgiving early, and everybody, welcome to our live stream. Welcome. Happy Thanksgiving week. And man, we got a lot to be thankful for, Dr. Tiffany. A lot to be. You know what? I'm thankful for you.
Oh.
If you've been invited to this live stream by somebody, we're about an hour long, and it's fun. It's going to be a good time. And whoever it was that invited you probably thinks that some of the information in here might change your life. So stick around. Give us an hour of your ear. You're probably just prepping for tomorrow anyway. Just put us on in the background and enjoy the show. My name is Jim, and I used to be a type 2 diabetic. And I love saying that I used to be a type 2 diabetic because I used to be one. I have reversed type 2 diabetes. And when I say that, you know, there's this, Dr. Tiff, I have found if you want to like get people yelling at each other, just say, hey, I reversed it. And some people are like, you can't reverse it. You have to go into remission.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, okay, then call it remission. And then the reversal crowd says it's not reverse or it's not remission. It's reverse.
Yeah, I have a problem with that because somebody got on my live with that craziness too. It was like, you a doctor, you have to use the right word. I said, right word for what? We're in uncharted territories now. And I had to think about it. I don't like remission. I don't like word choice matters. I think that sounds too negative. That means that it can come back. That means that I didn't actually make the changes to stop it from coming back. So no, I'm going with reverse. I don't care what nobody says.
Yeah.
Reverse.
And you know, I have another reason for reverse too, because reverse is my word. Mm-hmm. And the reason is Dr. Tiff, the more that I learn, the more, you know, we've called this a chronic and progressive disease. It really is kind of just a symptom of insulin resistance, right? And we're going to get into detail about that, but it's just a symptom. And if it's just a symptom, well, you don't go into remission from symptoms. You don't cure symptoms. You kind of reverse the symptoms. And so I've reversed it. But you know what? Yes. At the end of the day, my endocrinologist said I don't have to take medication anymore. So I don't care if you like reverse or remission. Right. I don't really like the word cure for the exact same reason Dr. Tiff just said, but however you want to word it, I just don't have it anymore. And I love talking about that and sharing it with people and just talking about feel great system. That's what we're going to talk a lot about. I also had, and Dr. Tiff would attest, these were atrocious numbers, a 459 LDL, and then just really high blood pressure for a very long time. And a mutual friend of Dr. Tiff and I introduced me to this system, and I do believe she saved my life. And I do believe that this company has saved my life. And along that way, I've met some amazing people, a lot of people, thousands and thousands of people, and none better than Dr. Tiffany.
Oh, see, I'm thankful for you too, Jim.
Oh, it's too late. You should have said that earlier.
I wasn't fast enough. Okay. But look.
I'm thankful for decaf.
Oh, that too. That's what I got in my bottle too. But I am thankful. No, all jokes aside, this is an awesome time to be able to share this type of information on these platforms that we're on every week. And so I'm Dr. Tiffany Marie, double board certified physician in family and lifestyle medicine. And I'm practicing 20 years for family medicine. And I ended up doing the last 3 or 4 years was virtual primary care over 48 states. And I got to see people like Jim with these horrible numbers, and I wanted to help them. And sometimes the medications didn't even fix it, for one. But then even if they did, they were on a bunch of meds. And so they had the illusion of improvement, but being stuck to the drugs and the side effects and the drug interactions. And I didn't want that life for myself, nor did I want to keep doing that to my patients. And I ended up looking into lifestyle medicine and start focusing on the root causes of conditions to reverse, take it back entirely. And that's what we're doing. I started getting on social media talking about these lifestyle changes, and that's how we got connected with Anne Marie, a wonderful lady who has changed my life in all types of ways. Here I am talking about this on social media, on YouTube, TikTok, anybody who give me a platform, any podcast. I said podcast last week. Anybody who wants to give me
you're quite popular right now.
Anybody who wants to give me a microphone, I'm like talking. I mean, hello, why not? We're helping people take back control of their health, and I want to keep doing it as long as I can.
The way you just said that, Dr. Tiff, we're helping people take back control. What I've noticed, it's a very common theme. And if I'm talking to anybody in the audience, if you would just say maybe you relate to this or you used to relate to this feeling of helplessness and hopelessness where, Dr. Tiff, I love you to death. In my former life, before I reversed type 2 diabetes, I didn't want to be near you or any doctor for that matter, because every time I would go, it seemed like I was just going to get more bad news. Like, I thought we talked, you got to change your diet, and it's like, man, I quit eating everything I like. Now I'm just eating lettuce. Like, what do you, when you say change my diet, what do you mean? And it just was never quite enough, and then they start etching into the things that you should change, like, the alcohol and the things that it was like, that's my last vice. I don't want to cut into that. And so now you become you get stuck in this counterproductive sort of thing where you're holding on to the things that are really bad and you think you're doing the things that are really good and nothing's really working. And I think that's just this helpless state of mind, and you feel helpless and hopeless. And what I love about this, Dr. Tiff, this live stream with you is that I know that we've created a lot of hope for a lot of people. And that's shall I say, legacy type stuff where it's really cool to say that, you had that impact on somebody, Dr. Tiff. And so if you've been invited to this, if you've been invited to this, stick around. This could be that 1 hour that maybe changes the direction of your life. A few months ago, we had Kevin on here, and Kevin really talked about that exact moment. He said, this might be that thing that just that one thing that just makes all the difference to you. So, okay. So also, if you are one of the people that's just had an amazing experience on this and you want to tell the world about it, you don't know how, this is a great time to do it. Put people in front of Dr. Tiffany. And the way you do that is type that little @ symbol on Facebook. I guess type that little @ symbol and start typing the name. And as you type their name, it will eventually populate. Hit enter. Boom. The next time they log into Facebook, voila. If you're on YouTube or Twitter or something like that, just hit that little share button and share it out to them. This thing goes out. Dr. Tiff, you mentioned that we're out on a lot of different platforms. We're on like 15 different platforms today. Last week's live stream went crazy. Like,
wow,
that was crazy. 5,000 or 6,000. I want to think it was me, but it wasn't. I'm here every week. It wasn't me.
And maybe it was Dr. Esther. She came with the fire last week.
Yeah, she, okay. So how this works is we're going to bring in some amazing testimonials. We've got a couple of amazing testimonials. These are 2 really powerful testimonials. I was kind of getting to know Richard a little bit backstage before you joined, but I only got little highlights. And then I know that my guest coming in has an amazing story. And so the way we're going to do this, we're going to bring out a testimonial, let them talk, kind of tell their story. And after that, Dr. Tiffany's going to go through and do an explanation of what the bigger kind of problem is and kind of explain really in layman's terms. And she's really good at this, but breaking it down so that it's easy for people like me to understand. And then we'll bring in that second testimonial. And then towards the end of the live stream, I'll go through and kind of talk about how these products get used. If at any moment you decide you want to try the products, just get with the person who invited you here and they will tell you how to do it. They know how to do that. That's the big deal. So Dr. Tiff, what do you want to bring in first?
Well, I mean, they do have amazing stories. I'm gonna go ahead and say Richard.
Okay.
Richard.
Richard
Um,
is.
Richard has an awesome story, and what was really cool is that we actually got to do the whole Spartan race together. That's where I met Richard in person. And so he's, in Cali. I'm originally from Cali. I'm a Cali girl, no matter how much I have this Southern accent, and y'all keep trying to hold me to Alabama, but I'm a Cali girl through and through. But I got to meet him, and it was so awesome. One, because I thought I was just going to be cute and walk around for 3K. No, I had to actually do something, climbing under barbed wire, climbing over a wall,
That's
doing
why
some
I didn't
Hercules
do it.
stunts.
100%. That's why I didn't do it. They were like, "You're gonna do it?" I was like, "No, no, I don't think so. No."
I
Like,
so did
you want
not
me to wake
sign
up
up
at
for
6
that.
a.m. to go trudging through the mud and jumping over one? No, 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 no. So, it sounds
No,
really fun. I'm
no.
glad you guys did it. I thought about going out and
Yes.
cheering you on.
Uh-huh.
I really
Yeah.
thought about
Not
going
that
out and
hard though.
cheering you on, and then I slept. Slept right through your
But
race.
the point is we did hard things. And so once you hear Richard's story, you're going to be able to understand just how big of a deal this was. Okay.
Yes.
So, I'm not going to steal your thunder too much, but Richard shared with me how after his heart failure exacerbation for the third time, he was like, him and his wife, we've got to do something. Okay. We've got to make some changes. And they started making some changes, but that still wasn't enough until they found these products we love. So go ahead, Richard. Go ahead and start with where you were and how you found these products. And it's your floor, man.
So let's take it a little bit deeper on that congestive heart failure that you're talking about that I had October of 2024. So mind you, it was a Saturday morning, like 4 o'clock in the morning. My wife rushed me to ER because I was having a hard time breathing. And Sunday we were supposed to fly to Rome. So I ruined my wife's vacation because of that. They have to do that thing on me. I forgot what it's called, but they have to zap me. And while I was there, that's when I said, you know what? This is my third time. Maybe my fourth time I won't be around or I'll be a vegetable. So my wife for years, she's been asking my doctor, Doc, we need to do something about his weight. My gout is so extreme that it limits my mobility. I have a hard time walking. I'm crawling. I will walk with my wife, and then because of the pain, I will stop, a little bit, and then walk again. A 30-minute walk turns into 2 hours. That's how painful my gout was. And then because of less mobility, I gained more and more weight. So finally, my doctor gave me Ozempic. you know. So for years, my wife was asking them to do something, surgery, whatever, so he'll lose this weight, so he'll have more quality of life. But nothing works. We even went outside our insurance to pay, a weight loss clinic. I was paying $150 per shot of, I think like B12 or something. I don't know, but it did not work. So finally, after that, my congestive heart failure, my doctor finally put me on Ozempic for weight loss. Okay, for 10 months I was using Ozempic. But you know what? It's not the type of weight loss I wanted. It seems like bone and fat that was left over. My body looks like a pear. I love to snorkel with my son. And there are times that, when we go to Hawaii, that I will wait until there's less people on the beach for me to get out of the water because I'm that embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed because of what I look like. I'm embarrassed for my family. It's
Mm.
so my weight loss, my weight was so uh my weight was so huge that it's embarrassing to the point I don't want to go out no more. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to be outside. The only place I would go is church function. But everything else because of my weight, I felt so desperate. Then finally, one of my wife's friend, introduced this product. I say, you know what? Hey, you tried everything. Try this. It might work, might not work. We'll see. Okay, so I tried it, but you know what? First day, wow, surge of energy. Okay. Third, second, oh, this is something new. But the very thing that really, you know, set this thing apart is the second week. As you can see, I was telling Dr. Tiffany, you can still see it. There's this one finger that is still stubborn. I cannot close it. Can you imagine both hands cannot make a fist? It's like that.
Wow.
This is within
Wow.
2 weeks of using the product. For years, I've been suffering or waking up with pain, gout pain. I don't know if anybody got have gout, but my gout is so severe. My goodness, there are times that my gout will go right here, places that it's not common. Can you imagine having a gout right here? First time I had it, I thought I was having a heart attack. I went to ER
Wow.
and they sent me, no, it's gout. I'm like that, you know. And for 2 weeks of using this product, I'm sold.
Mm-hmm.
I told my wife, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be part of my maintenance now. This is my coke. This is my water. And this is that a short amount of period of time it created a result. Okay, so now that I have all this, now I started when I was in Olympic. Okay, for 10 months, I lost 30 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, okay, 10 months, but you know what? I lost muscle mass. Whatever muscle I have, I lost. I tell my wife is looking at how come your legs looks like chicken legs. I'm like a pair with chicken legs and chicken arms. So it wasn't a good look. And with this product, I've been on it. I started last week of August. I dropped from size 50 to size 46. When you saw me in Florida, Dr. Tip, I was size 46. What product can do that in a short period of time?
Right.
And I started building muscle mass again. That shrinkage of waist give me the courage and the confidence to really go at it. Every time I take a sip of that bottle, I feel like a minute or an hour is added on my time on my life because of
Mm.
that shrinkage. Because of
Mm.
this, can you imagine? No
Yeah.
pain. I've been living with pain for 20 some years. My doctor put me to the highest dose of allopurinol. I was taking 400 milligrams twice a day. Now she dropped it to 100 milligram once a day. Because she doesn't want to drop it all the way. And then next thing well, let's see. I'm like, okay, but you know what? I'll let my labs do the talking. So
Yes.
now that I'm dropping my waist size, I have more energy, and this is months, just a couple of months of taking this. I told my wife, you know what? We've done everything from uh, weight loss, diet, and everything. We tried fasting, whatever. Nothing works. My weight goes like that. And every time he goes up with a vengeance. And this one, where else? What product can do this? That you went on a cruise for 4 days, all you can eat buffet, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I still lost 2 pant sizes. I'm size 44 now. Where else? And usually I'm not this energetic. Just like what I was talking to Dr. Tip the other day. Dr. Tip,
Awesome.
you know, for 12 some years, I haven't climbed up my 30-foot extension ladder to put up icicles on my roof for Christmas decoration. And this is that was the first time I've done it again, up and down, up and down. I'm like, wow, those little micro wins, gives me boosts that, I'm like, oh my God. Before I was just praying to God, God, let me see my son graduate. Because I kind of accepted the fact I'm fat, I'm overweight, I have congestive heart failure, I have uh, high cholesterol, high hypertension, severe sleep apnea, gout, everything. I'm a walking time bomb. That's what my wife calls me. My wife's a nurse. That's why. But we've been looking for things that doesn't really work. It might work for a little bit, but you know what? It will plateau and then that's it. It goes up again. And now with all this excess energy, I'm like looking forward. I'm already planning, the next trip. Before I'm like, what, Matt, don't wait for me. Just go travel, see the world, have fun. I don't know. I cannot do the things that you can do. To the point that I can walk side by side with her now. We went to a cruise. My wife was laughing because we went. So the lady that will take us to boarding to the ship said, "Okay, you want to take the stairs or the elevator?" My wife looked at me, and told the lady, "I'm gonna take the stairs." And that's a long flight up, going up to the ship. And I did it without cutting. I'm like, no, none of that. Usually, I'll take the elevator. Now I'm like,
Yes.
you know, I'm planning my 2027 trip to do the Camino walk. That's a 150-mile walk from Spain to Portugal, of the way of St. James.
Oh,
So with this, my goodness, I think I can do it. Now everything is possible with this now. And you know
yes.
what's
Yes,
good
it
about
is.
this, Dr. Tip? I got both best of both worlds. I get to eat and lose weight at the same time. Using this product. I don't eat. I eat less. I can look at my grocery bill. I'm eating less and less and less and less. But you know what? I don't need to deprive myself of things I love. And I just like I was telling my wife, we're on this forever. And this is the only thing that actually gave me result. I mean that's my proof. And
Yes, that's it.
before this was all already swollen. As you can see, some on my photos that I sent you, Dr. Tip. If you look at my hands, it's swollen all the time. You know. Now that I'm like, Ma, we need to get healthy now. I'm gonna grow old with you, so
Yes,
You
I
said
that
can't
is
something.
wait.
wonderful.
What 6 months can this product give me?
Mm-hmm.
You said something, and I immediately thought of Roe because I love the quote from Roe that the results are addicting. And I had to highlight Roe typed in there as I was thinking about Roe. She typed micro wins are addictive. Great job. Yeah, they are. It's those little things, and the more of those you start to stack up on top of them, you want to just keep doing it. You want to
And
you want
you know what, Jim? I'm a DIYer. You know, for me to hold on to my drill with no pain and not dropping it, that's a huge win. I love to DIY. And
to awesome.
I'm like, man, my wife's coming up with all the never-ending list again. I love it. I love it. It's
Yes,
gave me my life back.
yes,
Small microwaves. It's giving me my life back. I can't wait
yes.
6 months after to see really to shed this weight. And
Yep.
God bless this company. I love it. I love it.
Tiff, what do you got to say to that?
Yep.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Mic
Yes,
drop.
great
Yeah,
story. Yes,
I
love
don't
it,
think you
Richard.
can
Thank you so
tell
much for
Richard
sharing.
that this thing doesn't work.
No, right.
It's all right. You know what?
No. No.
Okay, Richard, I appreciate that, brother, and I know Dr. Tiff does too. What I
Yes,
would like to
yes.
do is um, have Dr. Tiff go into her explanation of kind of what the big problem is. But I would love to bring you back at the end of the live stream for anybody who might have any sort of questions whatsoever. Is that cool, Richard?
That's cool. That's cool.
Ah, man, you are a rock star. You are a rock star. Dr. Tiff, what the heck?
Yes. Yes, I know. I know. He just kept going, and you were like, man, it did all that.
Well, he's doing this. And, it sounds
Right.
silly. It sounds silly because there's so many people who are like, yeah, big deal, right? But if you
Right.
haven't done that for years, decades,
Mhm.
that's
Yep.
a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
That's a
That's
big
that quality
deal.
of life.
The ability
Yeah.
to pick up a spoon with your hands, with your fingers, little things like,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Simple stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You know
Let's
what?
get
And
into
I don't know much about gout. I never had it, but I
Mhm.
know that I've got friends that have had it, and it's just debilitating. Like, I mean, it will take them out of work for a week while they're in the flare-ups. And so
Oh, yeah.
to have somebody actually get some relief is awesome. So anyway,
Oh, yeah. Definitely is awesome. He shared something with me earlier too. He was like, I would climb to decorate the tree, things we don't pay attention to till the time comes. And so he wasn't able to do that because he wasn't able to grab. Now he can do these things. So this is that quality of life. This is why this is fun for us, right?
I've got your
But-
screen still shared. I just shut off the camera real quick. But what I did here also with that is that he was putting up Christmas lights.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. That is when you know you're feeling good. When you're like, hey, you know what? Let's get ahead of everybody else in North America.
Of course. You had the jokes.
Yeah,
I love
you know what?
Christmas, though.
It wouldn't be this live stream without me doing something stupid.
Well, the whole point is we're trying to get to the root cause. Yes, the joint pain, the hand pain, the weight, all those things are symptoms of a bigger problem. And so this Tufts University study, which is where this information comes from, it showed that only 7% of Americans are actually cardiometabolically healthy. Only 7%. And if you do the math, that means 93% of us are doing something. Okay, we're not the 7%. And so why is that happening? And what are we doing to prevent it as providers? So the number one prescription that's written is a statin to try to help cardiovascular health, but that only decreases the risk by 1%. But if you make lifestyle changes, you can actually improve the risk for these cardiometabolic issues up to 39%. And then this is still going to be here until heart disease is not the number one killer, but it is the number one killer in the US. Despite all the stuff we've done, despite all the low-fat foods, despite all the diet crazes, we're still here. And why? Evidently, what we're teaching isn't doing enough. And I know that to be so. Hence why I'm on here and on any place that'll give me a platform to be able to educate and help us understand what we need to do. So insulin resistance is at the root of all these problems. Okay. Heart disease, diabetes, stroke, all these things. Okay. PCOS, now go into detail about that, blood pressure, thyroid, all these things are either linked directly or indirectly to insulin resistance. Now, insulin is a hormone that your pancreas releases, and it releases to get glucose. It pushes glucose into the liver, muscle, and fat cells. So whenever you eat, your body has to do something with that glucose when your food gets broken down into that, okay? And there are some foods that break down into more glucose. Your carbohydrates are going to break down into a lot of glucose. Your fats, a little bit. Your protein, well, actually, your fats, not so much. Your protein, just a little bit, okay? But when you have a high glucose spike, okay, that's what that red bump is. That's a high glucose spike. You're making your pancreas release a lot of insulin. And when it does, it makes that glucose drop quickly. And that's where you get that crash feeling. That's where you get that hunger. That's where you get that hangry feeling. And so, the cravings for sugar and salty, constantly hungry, those things are coming from those fluctuations in the glucose due to the high insulin. The skin tags on the neck, when insulin is high, can act like a growth hormone, and it can make those skin flaps on the neck or the dark patches because those are layers of skin cells. Yeah, that's not dirt. Or you can have things like menopause, where you have the man boobs. You have that belly fat that doesn't want to go away despite how many calories you eat and how much you exercise. All these things have insulin resistance at the center. And so if you look at a typical day of eating, and if you think about the typical American diet, we were told to eat 6 to 11 servings of carbohydrates, told to eat really frequently. I mean, this is what we told people. This is what trainers told people, dietitians told people, what we told people. And so if you get this example, when you first wake up, your insulin's going to be pretty low because you've been sleeping all night, and hopefully you have not been eating while you're sleeping. But when you have that first meal, if it is full of carbohydrates, you're going to have not just a carbohydrate glucose spike, but you're going to have a large insulin spike. Okay. Your pancreas has to release that to get that glucose into the cells. And then a couple hours later, because you're going to have a crash, like in that previous picture I showed you, you're going to be reaching for a snack. And most of your snacks are carbohydrate heavy. I mean, we don't have a lot of protein pieces of meat sitting in the vending machines, right? Then, you have lunch. And if you're out at work, you're going to have what's easy to grab or what they offer you. Sometimes that's pizza. Sometimes it's a sandwich. All those are carbohydrate heavy. Again, insulin spike again. And then you're going to crash again, and then you're going to want another snack. And then dinner comes, and then dessert. And then you know what? Your insulin never really had time to come down. So your cells have been bathed in insulin the entire day. And over time, your poor cells are done dealing with that, and they start developing insulin resistance. But before you develop actually type 2 diabetes, which we actually identify by an A1C, before you actually get here, what happens is your insulin is high in the bloodstream, causing trouble. So you can have a normal A1C, but still feel like a diabetic, a normal A1C, and still have these symptoms, the symptoms of constantly wanting to snack, constantly being hungry, being fatigued. You can still have all that despite having a normal A1C, because this is just insulin resistance before you get to diabetes. Diabetes is, and type 2 diabetes is end stage insulin resistance. But before then, the insulin is high, causing trouble. And so when insulin is high in the bloodstream, what it does is it makes your kidneys hold on to sodium. So now that's going to actually increase blood volume, because wherever sodium goes, water is going to follow. And then it also bothers the blood vessel lining inside, making it not as smooth. And this would be a simplistic way to say that. And so you're going to have to increase the pressure if that blood lining is not as smooth, right? And then it impairs nitric oxide. So nitric oxide is what helps these blood vessels dilate. And so when they aren't able to dilate, you're going to have stiffened vessels, increased blood volume, and have the increased pressure from the inside lining. And all that increases the blood pressure totally. So not sodium, it's the insulin. And so it also increases your cholesterol. It makes the liver make more of the triglycerides, makes the liver make more of the LDL, small dense particles that get into the blood vessel lining. And so over time, that gets tighter and tighter and tighter to where you get instances of heart disease and strokes, to where they're due by blockages. Then when insulin is high, it develops ovarian cysts, which are problematic. It starts affecting weight gain, problems with hair growth or hair loss, like hair on the face, hair on the chest for a woman that's not supposed to be there, and disrupts menstrual cycles. So then you have irregular menstrual cycles, or sometimes just full out infertility. This is the leading cause of anovulatory infertility for women. So a lot of women, I mean, we've been blessed to see so many women actually be able to reverse this infertility just by doing these changes and using these products. Menopause. So that's when the insulin is so high. Now you're getting erectile dysfunction, kind of for the same reasons that you get the blood pressure. It bothers those vessels, and that way it can impact erectile dysfunction. But low testosterone, you get a poor conversion of the testosterone to an estrogen-like product, to where it makes the men have breasts. That's the man boobs, okay? And how insulin resistance causes autoimmune conditions. So gout, not quite totally classified. What kind of classified as an autoimmune condition? But you have the uric acid crystals that get into those joints. But what goes hand in hand with insulin resistance? Chronic inflammation. And gout for sure is definitely causing chronic inflammation. And so when we get down to insulin resistance, we get down to chronic inflammation, we get to improve things like gout or arthritis, or even rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune condition, or lupus. So your gut has trains of bacteria in it. And if you don't feed your gut the right things, you feed your gut too many of the processed foods, or you don't get enough of the fruits and veggies with the different colors, your poor gut starts to kind of eat at its own lining. And that's when you can get leaky gut. And so when you have different organisms growing in your gut, that's gut dysbiosis. But when you have that leaky gut, what you do eat. And so we eat food in our gut. That bacteria in our gut actually pulls out the nutrients we need to eat, but it also pulls out the toxins, the viruses, right? So if you have some leakiness in your gut, the viruses, the toxins, that stuff is going to leak out into your abdominal cavity, into your body. And because of the chronic inflammation, you're impaired, your T cells are impaired. So now your T cells are involved with telling your body what to attack. And so you have all this stuff floating around in your body that's not supposed to be there. So your immune system, which is your T cells, it's attacking not just the stuff floating around, but you, because it doesn't really know. It's a little confused because of the chronic inflammation. And that's where things like MS, which is autoimmune condition of the brain attacking itself, Hashimoto's, that's when the thyroid is attacking itself, and the lupus, the rheumatoid arthritis, that's when we start to see things like these autoimmune conditions. And for years, we have been noting that if you actually treat your gut well and start actually eating more fruits and vegetables, you can actually improve these things. But what we found is that if you tackled insulin resistance, we're seeing people improve entirely, reverse. And so, of course, when we say reverse, because that's a real thing, I still like that word. I'm going to stick with that. Stopping processed foods is the key, because that processed fake food, they actually gets into your gut and it confuses our whole system. Our body's like, what is this? This isn't real food. I'm just going to store this fat. So we want to avoid things that are packaged, boxed, and barcoded. Pretty much anything that when you look at the back of the ingredients and you can't read it, you don't need to be eating it. That is not for you. Besides the fact that it's not really food, that's why I like to call it big food, it's addictive, okay? It has so much sugar in it, and sugar has been found to be addictive. Our brain, dopamine, it kicks up dopamine when we eat these things that have sugar. And carbohydrates, when I say sugar, I get so many people that are like, well, I'm a salty person. No, your chips, your crackers still break down into sugar in your bloodstream. And that lights up your dopamine, lights up your brain like a Christmas tree. And what happens is you're looking for the next hit. And you're reaching again without even realizing it. And yes, it's an addiction. And you feel like you can't say no. You feel like it's always calling your name. And that's because the carbohydrates, especially the processed and ultra processed carbohydrates, processed foods, are missing the fiber that protects us. Fiber was actually made to protect us from this glucose spike that then spikes dopamine, then makes us have the insulin and have the crash. That was there on purpose, but we're missing it. We need the fiber. Fiber helps with the inflammation, but it also dampens that glucose spike so we don't have that spike, crash business, okay? But it also has the polyphenols, the antioxidants, these colors that are in fruits and vegetables, they're there for a reason. They're giving us different micronutrients that we need. And then fasting. So this is a actual healing process that happens, and we don't have to do anything but just shut our mouths. It's really that simple. And fasting is really just choosing when you eat. It's not depriving anything. It's just saying I'm only eating in this window, but I'm eating in this window. But there's so many things that happen. If you fast for 24 hours, that's gut regeneration. 48 hours, that's dopamine receptor regeneration. 72 hours, that's immune system regeneration is actually what they're looking at. Neurons actually improving. That's what the science says. Somebody got a Nobel Prize for this, Dr. Osumi, in 2016, I believe, for finding out that this is a real thing. And it starts around 17 hours. So we tend to try to get our members to start fasting somewhere around 16, 17 hours if they can. And so many people see this and see the fasting and see the fiber, and they see all this and they're like, gosh, this feels like a lot. I need some help. Can GLP-1 help? Can those shots help? Well, I'm here to tell you GLP-1 is actually something our gut makes. It comes from the small intestines, and it helps slow down how the food moves through our gut, but also turns off the food noise. It tells our hypothalamus, you know what, you're not really hungry, so you don't really need that. And so, big money figured this out. Big pharma figured this out and made an injectable that not only helped diabetes, but also helped with weight loss. Yes. And so we have all these people on these injectables trying to, and they don't, what they do is they bind to a receptor to pretend like they're a GLP-1. So they aren't quite a GLP-1. Your body makes a natural GLP-1, makes the actual hormone. They're just binding to a receptor to pretend like they're that hormone. And so when it happens, you're going to have some side effects. There's going to come some long-term effects. So 40% of weight loss is lean muscle mass or bone mass. Okay. Thyroid cancer risk, pancreatitis, gastroparesis, gut perforation. And none of this stuff is being hidden. It's in the commercials, it's on the website, it's everywhere. Okay. And then after 2 years, the whole point of how this can be helpful is that it turns off the carb and the food cravings. But after 2 years, those cravings come flooding back. You need higher dosages or you need more medicine. And so why not take something that's going to boost the natural GLP-1 you have in your body and add to the lifestyle changes that you need to do anyway? And it's going to give you the boost and the energy to want to do these things, want to do the activity like climbing the stairs, like Richard said. And so that's the great thing about the products we use. The Unimate actually boosts GLP-1. That's that yerba mate extract that Jim's going to talk about later. But it breaks down to ferulic acid, and in the gut, which is why it's important for our gut to be healthy, it actually boosts GLP-1 even more because it stops the breakdown of GLP-1. Okay. And then the balance part of this, which is pretty much like a medical grade fiber, I would say. It has 7 strands of fiber in it. It has multivitamins and chromium. It has so many great things. It's been out for 30 years, but it treats our microbiome. And that's that part of our gut that we need to be acting appropriately. We need that to pull out the foods, the nutrients, and make sure that the toxins and the viruses don't get in our system and keep our gut lining healthy. And so why am I speaking up? I said it earlier. I like seeing people's lives change. So more than thousands of lives change. We've had 1 million people actually start using these products. And what they've come to learn, what we keep teaching, is that insulin resistance is not genetic. It's 100% the lifestyle. But because of our environment, we need some things to make those lifestyle changes easier. Okay? So what's stopping you? What's stopping you from taking back control of your health right now? I know there's nothing stopping me. That's why I'm on here. And that's why I think I'm a superhero. But the whole point is to help you feel empowered to make these changes so that you are a superhero in your health journey as well. So I am Dr. Tiffany Marie again. You can find me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And I think that's it.
You are amazing. Absolutely amazing. And for everybody who doesn't really understand what Dr. Tiff, I mean, we all know she's a medical doctor, but Doc, you're also a coach for Dr. Ben Bickman, who you give a lot of credit to. We all love Dr. Ben Bickman. He's amazing. Why We Get Sick. If you're looking for a good read, you want to educate yourself on this, Why We Get Sick by Dr. Ben Bickman. So he has a website called Insulin IQ, and Dr. Tiff is one of his coaches. Like, she literally is one of the best people in the world at this thing right here, and just giving us her knowledge every Wednesday. I think I speak for everybody. Thank you, Dr. Tiff. Hey, look, right there. Susan.
Oh,
thanks Dr. Tiff.
Thanks, Susan.
Okay. That's amazing. Thank you. I want to bring in Tanya. There she is.
Here I am.
America. How are you, Tanya?
I'm good. You know, living life.
Living life.
Living life.
We had Tanya. It's been about a year since you were on, wasn't it?
Probably.
About that. And you already had an amazing journey, and add on another year, and it's just gotten better. And I wanted to bring you back to touch on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the journey just keeps going and getting a little better. Well, just a little background for me. I have a neuromuscular disease that affects my muscles. You know, I've had a very sedentary life because of that. And the weight gain kept coming for me. Nothing I tried ever helped me with that. Never. And, you know, along the way, I developed high blood pressure on meds. Type 2 diabetes finally came along. My cholesterol's elevating. I found out that I had sleep apnea at the age of 32, and that's due to the muscle disease. And I was put on a BiPAP machine to sleep at night and supplemental oxygen, which I had been on that 24/7 for 17 years, you know. And where I found myself before finding this system, really struggling, you know, depression, anxiety. I didn't like what I saw in the mirror. Going shopping was awful. I felt defeated, you know, because I was trying all the things that I thought were right, you know, to try to eat healthier, and I couldn't exercise to help myself. So I felt stuck and scared a little. I just saw my health continuing to decline. So much so that my husband and I bought a wheelchair in early of 23. And, you know, the disease I have, it's slow and progressive. And then I was really struggling wasn't able to go walking very far, 150 feet, and I was struggling to breathe. I was on that oxygen, which I had my little, this little guy went with me everywhere whenever I left my home. And, my husband is a truck driver, and he was talking a lot about us traveling whenever he retires. And another 15 years at that time. And I never said anything to him, but it really bothered me because I didn't see myself being able to go do that with him because I was just exhausted just from doing nothing. And I am happy to say that I found this and got started on it. And for me, my type 2 is in the rear view, off of medications. My cholesterol, all those numbers are good. I no longer need oxygen during the day. That's a huge win for me because I can breathe again. I can go for those walks. I started doing that, a half a mile some days, whatever my muscles will allow. And we've actually taken a few trips now. And I walked my butt off in those. And it's just, we talk about the quality of life. None of us are promised tomorrow, but the quality of today matters. And I'm so thankful that I found this because my daily quality of life is so much better.
What would you pronounce because I know it's DOK7, but I never can.
Congenital myasthenic syndrome, DOK7. That's the specific gene mutation.
And so the reason I ask you to pronounce that is so many people, and I've been doing lives for quite a while, live streams on social media, and I always get these meatheads that come in and just keto and exercise, just get into the gym and 24 hours a day in the gym and you can beat it. And at first they were just irritating, but the more that my knowledge grew, that's about as insulting as it gets to somebody who's got that's not an option. It wasn't you would have loved to have gone and spent 23 hours a day in the gym. I would have loved to have had that option, but it's not there. Right. Yeah. And so yeah, there are things that we should do that we could do. Right. But the simple fact that you've gotten this, I mean, I love that, Tanya. I've always loved that. And then of course my favorite part is the fact that, so I know her husband Royal as well. I've grown quite fond of these two. And the idea that, I mean, these two, Dr. Tiff, this is what you want to grow up and be when you get married. I mean, these two are attached at the hip, it's a beautiful couple. And the idea, knowing them as well as I do now, knowing that there was a part of her that was kind of dying inside saying, I can't do that. That's what he wants to do, and I won't be able to do it. To know that that's back is absolutely my favorite part of your story, Tanya. It always has been. Tanya,
yes. Yeah, you're on my lives every time I go live. I'm like, oh, and Tanya. And then see you on the cruise. I was like, and she looks even better now. I said, okay. Yes, I'm so proud of you and what you have done for yourself. And I love this. You and Royal. It was so nice seeing you both. So, yes, I love hearing your story. It touches my heart every time.
Thank you.
All right, Tanya, same thing is, I wonder if I can bring you back here in a few minutes for some Q&A for anybody who might be interested. You're amazing. Absolutely amazing. I love her story. I will never get tired of hearing about that.
Yes.
Dr. Tiff, I'm going to kind of blaze through this, and I'm going to do my show and tell again. Did you see my show and tell last week?
No.
Okay. So we're going to talk about Unimate and balance. Before I get into Unimate and balance, I want to point out that these two items are in the physician's desk reference, the PDR. That is a doctor's Bible, right? That's Dr. Tiff. That's where you guys would go to find out information about commonly prescribed medications, things like metformin or Ozempic, that sort of thing, contraindications, adverse reactions, dosing considerations, that sort of thing. We all love Dr. Tiff, but to think that she has memorized every possible thing for every possible medication ever. Well, maybe she has.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, absolutely not. That's what the PDR is for. That's where they would go to look up that sort of stuff. So the PDR, the physician's desk reference, will also list nutraceuticals. And nutraceuticals are all natural versions of pharmaceuticals. And of course, we're talking about fiber, and the mind goes straight to Metamucil.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I just buy Metamucil? Well,
Yep.
I'm going to explain the cost difference to Metamucil, and it's not that big of a difference. It's actually extremely close. It's shockingly close. But if we were to just look at this, hey, Dr. Tiff, Metamucil does not occur in the physician's desk reference. It's not in there.
Nope.
Not in there. And Metamucil is owned by Procter & Gamble. 2023, I believe they were a $88 billion company. They make a lot of money. They like have a whole room that's dedicated to printing cash. Like they're just like printing cash. And if they wanted to, they could just buy the physician's desk reference. What they can't do is buy Metamucil into. Kind of a big deal. So with that in mind, the Balance, the fiber supplement, was developed in 1989 as another product called BioSlife. BioSlife. Show and tell. BioSlife. Did you see this last week?
Oh, you went back.
Look at that. Look at that. BioSlife. How freaking cool is that? Okay. And then on the back, you'll see Rexall Pharmacy. Because Rexall Pharmacy, they're the ones who developed this. Now, really what it was they saw that our foods were being overly processed. The fiber was being removed, and the vitamins were being removed. And so what Rexall did with BioSlife, I need to put this like in a cage. It's delicate. What they did with that was they did a blend of 7 different plant-based fibers and a multivitamin. Now, Dr. Tiff, you already kind of talked about why fiber. Why does that matter? But the vitamins help our bodies absorb things, right? And so that little combination there was, you would think, hey, man, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? But nobody else was doing it. They were the first ones. And what they did was kind of change like modern medicine, right? So that packet right here, BioSlife, ended up getting studied at the Cleveland Clinic. The Cleveland Clinic is widely perceived to be the top heart hospital in North America, one of the finest in the world. And they did what they call a double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trial. That was then peer-reviewed, published, and cited. It's been cited 20 times. It's kind of crazy. That study right there, that by the way, that's pretty compelling research. That study, they concluded such a product, and I'm going to quote the study. I've said it a few times. I've got it memorized. Such a product, if taken regularly, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis and potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. So the Cleveland Clinic, in a roundabout way, saying it could reduce I'm not going to say roundabout. Lipid-lowering prescription drugs. Those are statins, correct? Okay. So such a product, BioSlife, if taken regularly, we take it every day, could reduce cardiovascular risk, that's heart disease, on a population basis, that is everybody, and potentially decrease the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs. Statins. Powerful statement. Now, it wasn't just studied at the Cleveland Clinic, it was also studied in Australia, of all places. They have this place called the University of Sydney, Australia, and that is the home of the glycemic index. Now, the University of Sydney, Australia studied Unicity's BioSlife. By now, it was Unicity. In 2011, it became Unicity from Rexall. But Unicity BioSlife was studied at the University of Sydney, Australia. Now, there's a lady there. Her name is Dr. Jenny Brand-Miller. She's an internationally recognized authority on carbohydrates and the glycemic index. She's been published more than 250 times. It's pretty crazy, her resume. Now, Dr. Jenny Brand-Miller studied BioSlife, specifically the glycemic effect of BioSlife on 3 common starchy foods. And what happened was she gave test patients 3 common starchy foods, namely white bread, white rice, and mashed potato. In each case, it lowered the glycemic index from high to medium. And that's pretty crazy. Basically, what that's saying is that it took a bad food and made it better. Now, the other side of that was she studied it a second time, and this time she gave test patients white bread, which is a 100 on the glycemic index. White bread's ridiculous. It's worse than soup. It's really bad. And it lowered white bread. First off, it lowered the glycemic index from high to medium. So from 100 to 69 or below. That's a significant reduction. But what she actually measured with blood glucose was if somebody took one packet of this, it was a 20% reduction in blood glucose. And because Dr. Tiff was talking about insulin, insulin's the problem, a 13% reduction in blood insulin levels. If they took 2 packets, and sometimes people take 2 servings, it was a 28% reduction in blood glucose and a 27% reduction in blood insulin. Those are just absolutely massive numbers. Now, there are, 4 patents on this, more than a dozen clinical validation studies, and that is why BIOS Life is in the physician's desk reference. Now, BIOS Life Australia, BIOS Life South Korea, BIOS Life Saudi Arabia. In the United States, we call it Balance. It's 6 to 1, half dozen of the other. Okay, so that is BIOS Life. Now, the second product is called Unimate, and to understand Unimate, we really kind of have to start with what is yerba mate. Yerba mate is the most widely consumed drink in South America. It's been consumed for more than 500 years in South America. It's really indigenous to the regions that are now Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, and parts of Uruguay.
Yeah.
There's a thick red clay-like soil in that dense rainforest climate. That's really the only place that yerba leaf will grow. Now, what they know about that yerba leaf is that it's very high in chlorogenic acid, just naturally occurring chlorogenic acid, which Dr. Tiff kind of touched on. Now, I don't know that Dr. Tiff really, I want to point out some of the research on this really quick, and I'm going to be fast because this study right here, the effects of chlorogenic acid on blood pressure. This is a systematic review and meta-analysis of randomized clinical trials. This study, they concluded the evidence from published randomized clinical trials suggests that chlorogenic acid intake causes statistically significant reductions in systolic and diastolic blood pressures. Now, this study right here showed that it improved glucose tolerance, lipids metabolism, inflammation, and microbiota composition. The really cool thing about this was they actually put this one side by side with metformin. In the current study, diabetic mice were administered chlorogenic acid or metformin. And the results showed that chlorogenic acid decreased body weight and improved glucose tolerance and insulin resistance, and these effects were similar to those of metformin. Chlorogenic acid also helps increase GLP-1. Now, something I want to talk about here really quick because it matters. With Richard's testimonial of gout, we don't talk enough about theobromine. Now, Dr. Tiff kind of talked about it a little bit in her presentation, but theobromine does something really crazy. It stops the crystallization of the uric acid at the surface of the skin. Yeah. So it also inhibits the crystallization of uric acid kidney stones, which make up about 10% of the overall kidney stones out there. So it really does amazing work with that sort of thing. In addition to theobromine is also really good for like cardiovascular health and mood enhancement. It's just really, really, really good. In fact, if you've ever been taught to eat a piece of dark chocolate when you're sad, it's the theobromine that's doing that to you. Theobromine also has an interesting effect with caffeine, which is why none of us that drink this ever get the jitters.
Yeah.
That in mind, I'm actually drinking decaf right now. Decaf is now available, guys. It's available. It is actually on the site. You can order decaf. I'm drinking it right now. I've never had a problem with the caffeine late at night. I've actually drank it all along late at night. I'm just, why not? So you have an option for decaf in lemon only right now. So the way that this works, by the way, so Unimate is yerba mate. What they do is they still hand harvest the leaves. They still fire roast them in a very similar way to the way that it's always been done. But then they extract the good things like chlorogenic acid and theobromine and all these things. And then they concentrate them and purify them. They get rid of the bad things, the things like pesticides and heavy metals. They get rid of all that stuff. And then we get this. Okay. Flavored naturally. And that's become a thing lately, Dr. Tiff. Everybody's like, natural flavoring. It is. It's lemon rind. It's natural flavoring. It's sweetened with stevia. This is good stuff. Okay. So what we end up with is a yerba mate extract that has about 20 times the chlorogenic acid of a typical cup of yerba mate. So if you're thinking, hey, I'm just going to go buy that stuff down at the store, okay, buy a lot of them. Buy a lot of them. You're going to need a trunk, because this equals 20. That's a lot. This equals 20. And we're going to drink 2 a day. That's the equivalent of drinking 40 regular yerba mates. You're going to need a bathroom. It's a lot.
Wow.
So, not the same. Now, real quick, Dr. Ben Bickman, Dr. Tiffany's mentor, Dr. Ben Bickman, I'm just a fanboy of him. Dr. Bickman actually studied this and found that it increased GLP-1 by up to 70% during a fasted state, and it made you a better fat burner. Boom.
Yep.
And the cool thing about that statement is Dr. Ben Bickman is a fat scientist. He literally grows fat cells. Right? And I say fat scientist. I don't mean like he is a fat scientist. I mean he's a fat scientist.
Mm-hmm.
And
clear.
he found that it makes you a more efficient fat burner. It makes you a better fat burner. It literally has been scientifically proven to make you a more efficient fat burner. So the way that this works is when you purchase the system, you're going to get 2 of these and 1 of the balance. Okay, that is a 1-day supply. You're going to buy it in a 30-day supply. So this will come in a box. 60 of these, 30 of these. It's so simple. Wake up in the morning, drink your first tea. When it's gone, drink your second tea. Before your heaviest carbohydrate meal of the day, drink your balance. They're going to send you a nice little bottle that makes it real easy to mix, that gives lines and stuff. I mean, it's pretty user-friendly. We accept HSA, FSA, credit card. I've been trying to talk them into that firstborn thing. They're not fourthborn. What did I miss, Dr. Tiff?
90-day money back guarantee.
90-day money. Golly, see? That's why I got you. 90-day money back guarantee. Try these products consistently for 90 days. There's a Feel Great app. It's a Feel Great fasting app. You're going to get instructions on how to download that Feel Great fasting app. Use that fasting app. Use these products. They guarantee lower A1C, lower glucose, lower cholesterol, lower blood pressure, lower body weight. Actually, they just guarantee you're going to be happy. If you're not happy, ask for a refund. Okay, but what if this is that live stream that kind of just changes the direction of your life? Let's get our guests out. Did I miss anything else, Dr. Tiff?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think that was
it's my first time. It's like it's my first time. I'm like doing rookie mistakes. Okay, so I wanted to ask anybody in the audience if you have any questions, get them up there. Let's get the panel to answer any questions. We're a little bit late. So I'm going to go ahead, and while people are, first off, did I miss any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. If you asked a question, re-ask it. Okay. If you have a question, ask it. While we're waiting for that, Tanya, 30 seconds. I love doing this part of this. At the end of the day, there are people out there who are looking at this thinking that this is just hocus pocus. There's some sort of gimmick. It's a scam. There's whatever, snake oil. There's no way this can be this easy and this effective. You got 30 seconds to talk to that person. What do you say to them?
Well, first of all, it is that easy and that effective. Again, a quality of life. If you're not happy with the quality of your life today, do something about it. It's time to make a change, and this system is the best thing that you can do. It's a no-risk investment in you.
I love that. Richard, I'll ask you the same exact question, sir. There's people out here who are just sitting there thinking that we are on the wacky tobacco or something. What do you say to them?
Well, what are they going to lose? If they tried everything, this one will actually delivers. And I was skeptical at first. What is the tea going to happen? Going to do for me? But you know what? All I can say is,
I love that.
That's it.
I love that.
Richard,
Tanya, I appreciate you all. Thank you for coming on to the live stream. Dr. Tiff. Another week down.
Another week down.
That was a good week.
And
That
it was.
I thought it was going to be hard to follow up last week's, but this week's was pretty. Those were two very, very powerful testimonials.
Mm-hmm.
Two
Oh, very powerful.
People who felt very helpless and very hopeless. What do you say, Doc?
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to watch this and think, oh, this isn't for me. This isn't going to work for me. In fact, I know that's where a lot of people think. I know that's where a lot of people go. But what if you're somebody struggling with grabbing onto things, or you struggle with gout pain? Gout pain is miserable. What if you can actually not have that pain again? What if you're on 3 or 4 medications for diabetes, for blood pressure, cholesterol, and you're tired of going to the pharmacy? The pharmacist knows your first name. But what if you can actually get off of those medications? What if you've been struggling for your weight all this time and you've been actually on different types of things and it still didn't seem to work for you the way you wanted to? What if this was the answer? Would it be worth trying? How much is getting off those meds, or getting that weight down, or getting back control of your life and having the quality of life? How much is that worth to you? If it's worth a little over $5 a day, then it's definitely worth a try with a 90-day money back guarantee.
Oh, that's a powerful way to put it. I think I brought it up last week. It cost $19,736 per year to have diabetes. Costs nearly $20,000 a year. That's the Centers for Disease Control. 19,000, of which 12,022 is directly attributable to diabetes. You're spending $20,000 a year. That's a new car every year to maintain something that you don't have to have.
Mm-hmm.
That talk about expensive. Talk about expensive. And not only something that you don't have to have, but I mean, on top of that, like, it's literally shortening your life. Like, not only do you not have to have it, but you shouldn't have it. And you're paying $20,000 for it. So try something different. Try something different. You just listen to a couple amazing testimonials. If you want to order this system, get with the people who invited you here. And whoever it was that invited you to this live stream, they will tell you how to order it. And go into this with a 90-day mindset. Go into it with the thought of, hey, I'm gonna try and fix things. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Rhonda says, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Tanya, right back at you.
Yes.
Gita Malkay, doctor, is that a quick answer, or is that an elaborate answer?
No, it can be quick. I mean, your main causes of chronic kidney disease are diabetes, so thus insulin resistance. You have the inflammation of the glomeruli. Those are the inside cells. Okay. So CKD comes from, that's chronic kidney disease is what that acronym means. That's inflammation inside the kidney. And of course, if we get down to inflammation like we can with insulin resistance, that helps. I already talked about with the blood pressure, how when insulin is high, it makes you hold on to sodium. Well, all that overwhelms the kidneys, as well as the blood sugar overwhelms the kidneys, as well as the high blood pressure from the high insulin overwhelms the kidney function. They're filters. So if we actually get to the root cause and get the sugar, the blood pressure, the inflammation down, that's why we're seeing people have improvement in their kidney function.
To add to that, Dr. Tiff and I, we were talking about being in Florida just a couple of weeks ago. One of the guest speakers was Dr. Jason Fung. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Jason Fung is arguably the world's most famous nephrologist. Mm-hmm. But he might be number one. I don't know if there's anybody more. No, is there another nephrologist who's bigger than he is? I don't think so. So, and he is a huge fan of this system. So I think that speaks volumes right there. Okay. Love it. Love it. Love it. Everybody have a wonderful Thanksgiving. If you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, well, no turkey for you.